Yeah, I think wide-ranging and also never-ending, Christine, if you come at it from that Republican perspective as well. But that definitely is kind of the political angle to all of this right now. I mean, how much have we heard this year that term deep state, which I don't think went mainstream up until about 11 or 12 months ago. Now it's ubiquitous. We hear this kind of talk all the time about career agents in the FBI and various intelligence agencies having it out for the President of the United States.
Well, Chris, you know what's interesting about that? What's so interesting to me about that is that I would say, and people who've worked inside the FBI, right, have said that it tends to lean conservative.
Historically has leaned very conservative. That number, according to former FBI people have told me, it's leaned now still 60-40 on the Republican side of things.
Yeah, that's thoroughly fascinating. But I mean, people are going to find ways to justify behavior no matter what. This is Washington, D.C. We are constantly going to be searching for ways to try to justify whatever it is that we want to get to. The ends do justify the means. So I think when we see sometimes this kind of rhetoric come out, I mean, you have Strizak and Page, these two investigators who were part of the probe, and these text messages, these anti-Trump text messages that came to light in recent reporting. When you see that, you're going to only add more fuel to conservatives saying they have it out for the president, and that doesn't help politically at all.
Look, those text messages were a major black eye for the department. Boneheaded mistakes, but Rod Rosenstein said himself he's seen no reason to fire Bob Mueller. But here's what Congressman Matt Gaetz of Florida, a Republican, needless to say, said to Chris Cuomo on Friday about that.
The Congress have an obligation to expose this bias, to expose what I believe is a corrupt investigation, and I call on my Republican colleagues to join me in calling for the firing of Bob Mueller. And look, it's time for Mueller to put up or shut up. If there is evidence of collusion with Russia, let's see it.
So he's calling on his Republican colleagues, and here's what his Republican colleague, John Cornyn, senator from Texas, said. I think that's a mistake myself. Is Gaetz on an island here?
Yeah, it's a little much. I think it's probably safe to say that he's quite out on quite an island. I think if you look at even some of the conservative editorializing on this, I think of a National Review editorial recently that was talking about the idea of investigating some of the investigators, the classic problem of who polices the police. And a lot of it is based on the fact that, look, you know, these people the public has a right to have these people held accountable in some fashion too, but there's a delineation there, and it's a very, very clear line between these people who have political opinions and the integrity of Mueller himself. There is no reason to doubt the integrity of Bob Mueller. You can talk about the probe and the way that it's being conducted and some of the actors that are involved, but when it comes to Bob Mueller, you still hear these words like unimpeachable and irreproachable to describe him even from the right. So I do think that's a little far talking about firing the guy.
Let's talk about tax.